is crowded, you still can find some room for bro.
Before the world had stadium tours, light shows, and screaming fans packed into arenas, there was chaos. Beautiful, unfiltered chaos. The 1950s weren't just the birth of rock and roll. They were its explosion. Guitars were smashed, hips were banned from television, and teenagers found their rebellion. Tonight, we travel back to the decade where rock was wild, dangerous, and gloriously alive. Here are the 10 wildest rock and roll moments of the 1950s. Stories so unbelievable, they still echo through the amps of every band that came after. Number 10, Jerry Lee Lewis sets his piano on fire, 1957. It's the most infamous moment in early rock history. During a 1957 show, Jerry Lee Lewis, furious that Chuck Berry would headline after him, decided to make his performance unforgettable. He poured lighter fluid on his piano, struck the final chords of Great Balls of Fire, and literally set the stage ablaze, then stormed off shouting, "Follow that!" That night, audiences didn't just see a performance, they witnessed rebellion itself. Flames danced around the keys as Jerry Lee grinned like the devil he was rumored to be. It wasn't just rock and roll anymore. It was danger, fire, and freedom combined. Hash number 9. Elvis Presley's hips get banned from TV, 1956. When Elvis appeared on The Ed Sullivan Show, his shaking hips sent America into shock. Parents called it obscene. Preachers called it sinful. The network panicked. They began filming him only from the waist up. But what they didn't realize was that censorship made Elvis even bigger. Teenagers imitated him in their bedrooms, the forbidden moves spreading like wildfire. That night, the world didn't just see a singer, it saw a cultural revolution in motion. Elvis wasn't just moving his hips, he was moving an entire generation toward freedom. Number 8. Chuck Berry's arrest that shook rock and roll, 1959. Chuck Berry was already a legend. Johnny B. Goode had made him immortal. But fame met scandal when he was arrested under the Mann Act for transporting a minor. Though controversial, this moment exposed how rock stars lived on the edge, always balancing genius with chaos. Berry's fall from grace didn't stop his influence, it immortalized his rebellious image. He became the symbol of rock's raw truth. Brilliance always comes with risk. And number 7, Little Richard quits rock to become a preacher, 1957. Mid-tour in Australia, Little Richard saw a fireball cross the sky, a Sputnik satellite. To him, it was a divine sign. Right after his biggest hits, he announced he was leaving rock and roll for God. Fans were shocked, promoters panicked. But for Richard, it was redemption, a dramatic pause in a life of excess. He returned years later, louder and wilder, but that moment proved something powerful. Rock and roll was as much about faith as it was about frenzy. Number 6, Buddy Holly's plane crash, 1959. On February 3rd, 1959, the music stopped. Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and the Big Bopper died in a plane crash after a winter tour show. The tragedy froze a generation, later called the day the music died. That night reminded everyone that behind the screaming fans and flashing lights were young dreamers chasing something bigger than life itself. Rock lost its innocence that day, but it also gained its first martyrs. Number 5, Elvis joins the Army, 1958. When Elvis was drafted, fans wept. America's biggest rebel, now in uniform. But that moment symbolized something deeper. Rock had become so powerful, even the government couldn't ignore it. His military haircut made headlines, yet his fame only grew. Elvis went in a rock star and came out an icon, ready to redefine the 1960s. Number 4, Alan Freed's payola scandal, 1959. The DJ who named rock and roll himself Alan Freed was accused of taking bribes to play records. His downfall nearly destroyed the genre's credibility, but it also exposed the business side of rebellion. Rock and roll wasn't just wild on stage, it was messy behind the scenes too. Number 3, Elvis meets President Nixon, 1957 rumor, 1970 reality. Long before their actual meeting, rumors spread in the 50s that Elvis wanted to join the FBI to fight drugs and communism. The idea of the world's biggest rock star asking to be a secret agent was insane, and oddly true years later. It captured everything about the decade: fame, paranoia, and a world trying to understand its new idols. Number 2, Bill Haley brings rock to the mainstream, 1955. When Rock Around the Clock hit, it was like a thunderclap. Teenagers danced, parents panicked, and movie theaters became riot zones. It wasn't just a song, it was the spark that set off the explosion. Rock had arrived, loud and unstoppable. Number 1, Elvis Presley becomes the king, 1956. From a truck driver in Memphis to the most recognizable man on earth, Elvis embodied everything rock stood for. When he performed Heartbreak Hotel, the world changed forever. Girls screamed, parents prayed, and television audiences witnessed the birth of modern fame. That night, rock and roll wasn't just music, it was a movement. And Elvis, the boy with the crooked smile and shaking knees, became its crown. The 1950s were lightning in a bottle, unpredictable, dangerous, and full of magic. These weren't just moments in time, they were the sparks that ignited generations. Every guitar riff, every scandal, every flame on Jerry Lee's piano still burns today in every note that dares to be loud. Because rock and roll was never just music, it was rebellion wrapped in rhythm. And as long as those old records spin, the fire never truly dies.